Yes, Dan. Doing it in my kitchen because it's sexy pink. Oh yeah. Anyway, so the alternating grips. It's not 5 times 5 of each grip. You alternate, which you probably already know, but I'm just explaining that bit. So the idea is if you're doing a bench press, this here is your range of motion. Okay. So as you can see, you are moving in one plane only. Okay, you're pretty restricted in what you're doing. You're just going forward and back. Okay, but watch here on my pectorals. You should be able to see it actually. It looks good on the video. I'll get closer just in case. But if you watch my pectorals, as I come in, because my arms are restricted in that one specific spot, can you see how they close like that? Yeah. Now, if you do this yourself, you'll feel tension here, but you won't feel it here. Okay, so if you're doing that, you're engaging your arms and your chest, but you're not engaging your chest fully, if that makes sense. Whereas if you just do this now, if you get your arms and cross them like that, you can already see my chest is pinching tighter. Yeah, you can see that pinch, yeah? It definitely is more significant on the camera. Yeah, watch again, look at my chest there, and then look at my chest there. Yeah, you can see that there's a big difference. If you're using dumbbells instead of the bar, that gives you more range of movement for your chest. Now, to work a specific muscle, not only do you have to engage it from a heavy lift, you also have to create something called mechanical overload. To be able to create the mechanical side of the overload, you have to follow how the muscle works. So muscles have lines in them, they're what's called striated. And where those striations go is how the muscle moves. And it just so happens that the chest pulls in. You'll find all the striations sort of come down towards the centre. So to engage the muscle fully, if you're just finishing there, you're not contracting the muscle fully. If you're finishing, say, here, you're contracting the muscle fully. Hope that makes sense. So if you're using dumbbells, I'm not expecting you to cross them, but instead of being stuck there, I'll stand back a bit. So instead of being stuck like that, if you're using dumbbells, when you push up, you can come up and in. Yeah, you can even see just from there on the reflection of my t-shirt there. If you look at the t-shirt, look how it, you look at the creases there. Look at the creases there. It's very different. And even if you do that, just standing up, just stand there like that, which is where your bar would finish, and then do that, you'll feel the difference. Yeah. So the idea of having the dumbbells instead of the bar is you're engaging the chest more. Okay, so you're making the most out of the compound exercise, if that makes sense. Okay, another way of doing this is where we'll come on to the arms. Okay, so actually I'll finish off chest. I'm babbling a bit. So chest, yeah. So dumbbells, as you would with the bar, but as you come up, obviously you're coming in to try and join your fists. That gives you the maximum effect for your chest. Now we're going to talk about the arms. So the arms are said about alternating, okay? So about wide grip and close grip. We're going to have to stand right back for this. So you always keep your elbows in when you're doing a curl, okay? So it's 5 of each. So what you would do, like I did today, you'd have the curl and you'd curl up wide like this for 5, then change, curl in for 5, curl out for 5, in for 5 until you complete the 5 sets. If you've chosen the supine and prone approach, similar again. So you're going to come at a slight angle out, not as drastic though, because you want to hit the peak of the bicep this time. I'll come on to that in a second. And then with the reverse, you can come in like that. Okay? Now the difference is here. With the wide and close grip, the idea of close and wide, again, you can feel the difference on the muscle when you do that. If you do this, you will feel a contraction on the inside of the bicep more than anywhere else. Even me just holding that there, I can really feel that there, yeah? And then when you're pulling up from the inside, you'll notice that it changes from the outside of the bicep, and this little muscle in here, which I'll tense up for you, there it is, that bad boy, which is the brachyradialis, okay, which is another minor part of your arm, which is never really discussed, but it's vital for joint stability and actually crosses down in over into your forearm. Okay, so actually what you're doing is building better stability, and you're actually thickening and widening the bicep. Okay, a lot of people, and you do see it a lot, will have very wide arms from the side, but actually they're just long, and then they come to the side and they're really thin and skinny. And that's why they're only working the peak of the bicep. So you've got that. That's why we alternate. So it'd be 5, 5, 5, 5. If you've chosen the other way round, it's a similar approach. But with dumbbells, it's hard to come in like this for 2 dumbbells. They're clunky, they're in the way. If you're using a bar like an EZ bar like I use, perfect. You're not going to do that with dumbbells. So how do we change and get that same sort of function? Well, you wouldn't go for a complete wide grip like this for a start, because otherwise you're sort of ignoring certain aspects. So you're coming in a little bit closer, again, elbows in. So you come just that little bit closer, so you're still hitting the inside, but then you're hitting the peak. Why do you want to hit the peak a bit better and a bit more efficiently like this? Because you can do this while standing here, just like this. And when you do that without any weight, you'll notice you will hit the outside, but you'll hit the brachioradialis in your forearms more than you would by doing a close grip. Close grip gives you just on the outside and some of the peak, and your brachioradialis. Doing this gives you more brachioradialis and forearm as opposed to peak of the bicep. So to counter that and balance it back out, that's why we're going to do it like that. So if you're using a bar, as wide as you can and as close as you can. If you're using dumbbells, bring them in slightly more, still a little bit wide, but you're hitting the peak a little better, and then you're doing your reverse or prone. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And again, the reason why we want to do alternate, mainly because it's such a small muscle, it's easier to damage, and a lot of people argue that means it's quicker to heal, but it's not, because a muscle fibre has a specific amount of time it can heal in. So it doesn't matter if it's a chest or a bicep, the size means nothing, it just means there's more fibres in there. But if there's more fibres, that doesn't mean it takes longer to heal, it just means there's more fibres healing. It's not a bigger or thicker fibre, it's just there's more in that muscle because it's a bigger muscle. So it's an absolute myth. It's not 24 hours for a bicep and 72 hours for a chest. Every single part of your body needs the exact amount of time of rest. So why am I asking you to alternate on your biceps? Because you use it more. How often do you use your chest, really? It's going to rest. Your biceps, on the other hand, aren't. So it's better to target different parts of the same muscle, because if you don't, you'll create instability and it will take longer to heal because you're creating more damage in a specific area. Spread that damage around, you damage more fibres, create more growth, but also because you haven't damaged it as severely as you would as if you isolated it, it will heal quicker, which is massively important for when you're on a deficit. When you're trying to do what we're calling a recomposition at the moment, you don't want to be left in a position where basically your body's so damaged it can't heal properly. You need it to heal as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Hope that makes sense. So now you understand that alternate means 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It's the same for the row. And the reason why I'm getting you to alternate the row is, again, you're targeting different parts of muscles in different places of your back. So for instance, again, do this while you're standing, and you'll feel the difference. So your first 5 reps, wide or close, whatever you fancy, but if you go wide, you'll notice you'll feel a real big pinch. You'll probably see it on my back actually. You'll feel a real big pinch at the bottom of your trapezius. Okay, you'll really feel that, and you'll also feel it towards the centre here in your rhomboids. Okay, you should see my scapulars or shoulder blades really pinch close. Yeah, and what that will also do is affect this. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but that's your rear deltoid. Okay, you're actually activating a hell of a lot of your back just by doing that. And you're not isolating your biceps. So I would always start with that. So you're effectively doing 3 sets of this, because the other 2 sets where you're alternating will be the close grip. Okay, if you're using a bar, obviously it's wide and then it's close. Yeah, you can even see the difference actually of my posture by doing that. Yeah, you're even pulling it in a different way. You're pulling it up here, chest level, and the other one you're sort of pulling more here. But again, watch my back. You should see a different type of contraction from the wide and to the close. Now the close really puts a lot more pressure here, which is on the subscapularis, and then just at the very bottom of the trapezius. So you're getting a very, very different outcome. And not only that, it puts more pressure on your biceps. Now, I know what you're going to say, because you're going to say, I thought we weren't meant to damage them as much. It's not isolating the biceps. That's the first thing. It's getting your biceps to work with other parts of your body, hence compound movement. But to make the benefits of the growth and the definition, and again can affect calorie burning and recovery, you need to work as many different muscle groups as possible and create stability as opposed to instability. So if you went out and you just isolated one specific part of your back and did the same row over and over and over and over again, yeah, your rhomboids will look fantastic, but your trapezius will really be suffering at the bottom, which means somewhere in the mid-back towards the top of your lumbar and the bottom of your thoracic region of your back, you're starting to get a bit of instability, which means it won't be as good. It won't be. And unless you're doing literally planks every single day for up to a minute, you're going to lose a lot of stability in the stabilising muscles as well. So it's much better to have a healthy back. Okay? Make sense? So I hope that helps. So remember, when you're alternating, again with the row, it's actually the same principle. You can use dumbbells if you want. I think the only thing that really changes if you're using dumbbells with the row is you'll find as you're doing that, yes, your hand will be what they call pronounced. But then suddenly, when you're doing the closer, you'll naturally hold like this. There's no actual name for it. They call it lateral rotation. There's no actual name for it. It's just supine pronouns. Sorry. But yeah, you'll find that your fists are probably like this if you're using dumbbells. Just remember, they must pull in at exactly the same point, and you must pull all the way back. And with both exercises, it's the same principle. You must try and squeeze like you're squeezing a tennis ball in between your shoulder blades. Okay? Everything should be done with full contraction. Now, with 5 times 5, I don't want you yanking and yanking, but you might find that it'll be a very explosive contraction. So instead of it being this very slow, which is what I'm doing at the moment, tedious contractions, you might find it's a bit more powerful with a slower down. That's fine, because you're doing strength exercises, and strength exercises, well, they activate a different type of muscle fibre. I'm not going to go into that, but that will make sense. That is understandable, and I'm not going to moan at you as long as you're not yanking, okay? As long as you've still got good form and you're pumping up and you're lowering down, I'm not going to moan. But if you're like, no, bad form, stop doing it, lower the weight. Hope that helps, hope that makes sense.